let's go, let's go, let's go.
My Colorado swing. My Colorado swing. My Colorado swing. I think they like my Colorado swing. Cause when I'm in that play, I don't really know just how to act. And when I'm in that go, you know I'm acting bad. Holla, get a bus with my Colorado swag. My Colorado swag. My Colorado swag. I think they like my Colorado swag. My Colorado swag. My Colorado swag. Man, I swear I think they like my Colorado swag. My Colorado swag is pushing 180. Speeding past competition, see you later, baby. Colorado Army with soldiers like the Navy. And boat is where we station, patiently awaiting. When I hit the field, it's so hard to behave. I'm Colorado swagging as the crowd do the wave. Look into my eyes, I can tell that you afraid. Cause you know we finna hit ya. Hey, you on your own now, why you watching the official? You just better hope you make it to the next whistle. And we ain't playing with you can get it anytime. It started at the scrimmage, we gon' win it at the line. My Colorado swag in the middle of the ring. Throwing blows, knocking down team after team. They like my Colorado swag. Cause when I'm in that play, I don't really know just how to act. And when I'm in that go, you know I'm acting bad. Holla, get a bus with my Colorado swag. My Colorado swag. My Colorado swag. I think they like my Colorado swag. My Colorado swag. My Colorado swag. Man, I swear I think they like my Colorado swag. Have you ever seen around? Nothing but Colorado. Buffalo is what I am. All the teams come and follow. When I start hit the field, the opposing crowd swallow. Cause they know I'm about to kill. He gon' feel that tomorrow. Whole team full of warriors. Got me feeling tribal. Big 12, here we come. We ain't worried about a rival. If you want it, come and get it. We'll wait for your arrival. When you hit this Folsom Field, man, it's all about survival. Pray you make it, yeah, you better bring your Bible. Right back, blind side, flat line, no revival. Get them bucks, mess them up, we say we got them. If we don't, then we'll get them. When we see them, then we had them. Like my Colorado swag, cause when I'm in that play, I don't really know just how to act. And when I'm in that go, you know I'm acting bad. Holla, get a bus with my Colorado swag. My Colorado swag, my Colorado swag. I think they like my Colorado swag. My Colorado swag, my Colorado swag. Man, I swear I think they like my Colorado swag. I think they like my Colorado swag. Cause when I'm in that play, I don't really know just how to act. And when I'm in that go, you know I'm acting bad. Holla, get a bus with my Colorado swag. My Colorado swag, my Colorado swag. I think they like my Colorado swag. My Colorado swag, my Colorado swag. Man, I swear I think they like my Colorado swag.
Welcome into a new BuffStampede Radio. Adam Munsterteiger, the publisher of BuffStampede.com, joined as always by football analyst William Gardner and contributor Will Burnett. Guys, we had to break out the Derek Webb intro there. He was at Folsom Field, a former linebacker for the Buffaloes, and maybe that should be our tradition. After a win, we get the full Colorado swag song. What do you guys think?
Is that who that is?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was back
Wow.
when
I love that. I was over here bumping to that, waiting to go on live. I love that.
it was back when he was playing for the Buffs, so that's actual CU made stuff.
Wow.
And Derek Webb has actually created some music that's made it onto like TV shows, and he's kind of made it into a career. So he's been back in Boulder a lot because he was a mentor for Martavius French, one of Colorado's linebackers.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That's given him the reason to come back to Boulder even more than he did before. But one of my favorite guys that I've covered, man. The list is so long, but he's such a good dude. And I'll start with you, William. And do you want to lead off here? Are we going to go take the high ground, talk about Colorado's win, or are we going to talk about Dan Lanning tears in Oregon's home loss?
Well, I didn't even, honest to God, I pay so little attention to them. I didn't realize until this morning that they got beat. So that, yeah, I think we should start out with that because let's face it, dun, da, 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 another year without a national championship, chumps. See ya. You'll never get one.
It's
Not
one
with that
loss, but
little
yeah.
girl, not with that Girl Scout. Oh, they ain't gonna get it. Look, they lost. They choked like they need a Heimlich coach is what they need.
Give me a par on the Dan. I didn't know the William Gardner Dan Lanning beef. Even though I have a similar beef with Dan Lanning after what he all the smack he was talking to us a couple years ago.
Yeah, that's where it started. Yeah, that's where it started because to me, that's just cowardly stuff. And he talked like he's all safe in his locker room with all his dudes around him, and he lets some national media in, which he had never done before, talking all that trash, and then has audacity afterwards to say, "Oh, well, I was just space to the team. Didn't mean that to get out." And then when he's face to face with Coach Prime, meek as a mouse.
Nothing.
Meek as a mouse, nothing to say, which to me is just a coward all the way through. So, but it didn't really bother me that much. It's not like it's a thing or anything.
Listen, it's always great when Dan Lanning loses. You know, he was on game day or something with his shirt off, pumping the crowd up, just all the bravado, doing all the things that he does.
Did he jump in a pool with a teenager? Did he jump in a pool with a teenager?
Yeah, no, he didn't. But that type of circusry that he does, even though he says he doesn't do anything for clicks, obviously an absolute lie.
Right.
Well,
right.
I saw that last night and went to bed happy. A Buffs loss or a Buffs win, Ducks loss is always good.
And you know the other side of that to take a different angle is I love seeing Indiana doing what they're doing, man. That is just good for college football, and it's nice to see a different team. It's the same 5 damn teams every year, so it's nice to see somebody new in there. And man, Kurt Signetti, man, that guy's he's the poster child for coaching matters at this level.
Yeah,
no, he's doing a great job over there.
As Dano said, big win. So maybe we should shift focus to the Colorado Buffaloes. But that was one of those games where this season was going one way or the other. And fortunately, leading into the bye week, it's giving at least some promise and some hope. And this is still a football team that can go to a bowl game. You know, you've got 3 conference losses. You're not going to the Big 12 championship game, but there's still a lot to play for. And when you see young guys like London Merritt and Tawfiq Bayard, and I mean, just across the board, you feel good about the future as well, which is kind of what they're going to be building for, I think, after this bye week.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be taken from this game, and I don't know. You know, there's some guys that stood out. Tawfiq Bayard had an All-America level game. I mean, he was just everywhere. And some of his, they listed him 7 tackles. Man, I got to watch the film and count for myself because I would bet it's more than that. And they weren't all, and they weren't all in the secondary because he had one in particular, which I'm going to find and put up where he made a tackle right at the line of scrimmage, where he just kind of cut in behind all the traffic and took the running back down right there. And then, you know, that interception was fantastic. And that's what we've been missing from that defense all year long is those big plays like that. But he was fantastic. And the other guy who was just lights out was Jeremiah Brown. And that's nice to see for that guy. He just, the light came on, man. He, on that 4th down play, that's a beautiful linebacker play. Now, I'm going to tell you, Amari McNeil made that play, but Jeremiah Brown just kind of slid in a crack in the blocking and helped him make that play. But Jeremiah Brown was everywhere, and he put on a clinic of inside linebacking, and between our inside linebackers were really damn good yesterday, I thought. And Sean Myers had a really good game, so that's a good thing to see.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious, what is your watching situation out there in Los Angeles during these Buff games?
You know what? Yesterday was a beautiful sight. I'm normally, because you know there's a couple Colorado bars in the area. Mainly they're Bronco bars out here. We have a shockingly massive Bronco following out here. But it's tougher to find those Buffs, even though I know more Buffs from California than damn near Buffs from Colorado. It's amazing. But I'm usually at my house watching the game, screaming at the TV. However, yesterday was one of those moments where you wanted to see everything kind of come together, and it felt like it did. I know I mentioned on the show last week, you were waiting on all facets of the game to come together. When our offense is rolling, it feels like our defense is not, vice versa. It felt like we were playing great on all levels yesterday. We were composed. Caden Salter, obviously, I mean, he had, in my opinion, the best game of the year. And he had a quote at the end of the game where he said one of his best attributes is his ability to forget and play the next play. And I thought that was interesting for him to say that, because when you think about all the things that the kid has gone through this year, he transferred over here with high hopes. He had to battle in spring camp versus this 5-star. He gets the starting spot. And then he gets benched for Ryan Staub. It's all in the media. He is getting highly criticized by our fans, by media, and everything like that. And he's just continued to grow each week. And I thought that his signature win of the season was on Saturday. But more so, I was just happy for him that he said, and I think he's finally feeling it now, my biggest attribute is being able to carry on, even though there's a lot of scrutiny or anything that's been talked about. And he proved that last night. He had a great game. Our receivers, some of our offense and the plays that we were running looked a little bit new and fresh, and that was nice to see from a Shermer offense who has been a little bit, for lack of better words, bland. We were throwing the ball downfield. We were running a lot, and it just was a signature win that we needed. It was like you said, it was kind of a do or die moment for this team, and we got it. And it was just a big win all around.
I had a little bit of technical difficulties, which goes to show you shouldn't let an old lineman coach work the technology. But were you talking about Salter there?
I was, yeah.
Okay. His decision making was so much better last night in both the run. I mean, he didn't hesitate. He just took off and run, whether it's scramble or whether it's a RPO. He just made really good decisions. And you talked about some of the wrinkles. The one wrinkle I really liked was that split backs and taking the one back on the play side and getting them like a little motion towards the line of scrimmage, getting them a head start on that linebacker and stealing it off, because that worked great. That was a beautiful play. I love that.
Perfect.
Can we talk about the trick play that
Oh my
almost was disastrous, then almost was a touchdown, then ended up not being anything.
Well, I think that, I watched the game again this morning, and the announcer said, why'd you do that? Just wreck your I'm missing the word here, but you got a thing going and you interrupt it.
Kill your momentum, basically.
Yeah, right. Yeah. You just kind of doing something there. I don't know. It was interesting, and it was way too complicated. Like they said, there's like 6 things that got to go right for that play to work.
But it was a throw from Caden Salter being placed in the right spot away from being a really explosive play. So.
Yeah, because I don't know if you saw, it was supposed to be a screen because there was guys downfield ahead of him over there. But
you remember when Jay Johnson ran a flea flicker at the 2-yard line? Colorado scores a touchdown, beats Nebraska.
Yeah.
In fact, the last home game in which the Buffaloes beat a ranked team was that game against Nebraska in 2019 under Mel Tucker. But if that results in safety, Jay Johnson's the worst coach that's ever lived.
Right.
So sometimes you take chances, and I think fans want OCs to take chances sometimes. I'm okay with that. The best part of that play was Omari Miller getting that ball back to Caden to be able to try to attempt that pass.
Basketball for.
Yeah, no, I don't. I think as a rule of thumb, if you have to do more than one throwback, probably not the trick play that you need to be running, especially in that. But I didn't know whether to be upset about the trick play not working or ecstatic that Shermer and our offense are spicing it up a little bit and running some plays that are fun to watch and could have explosive results. Like you said, it was one misplaced ball away from being a party.
It's really the backside defensive end stayed home and did his job. If he'd have bid on the initial fake, that would have been a huge play because then there would have been somebody in the middle of it, So, but the other thing about that kind of a play is it keeps the defense honest. They got to watch for that. Now you run that play and you see if that backside defensive end stays there, and if he doesn't, then you do something else to exploit it. So, the other thing that I thought about was that busted play to Omarion Miller. This may not make sense when I first say it, but that's because the run game was effective, because that safety was walked up a little bit, and he's got to communicate to that cornerback who's going to cover that receiver, who's going to have the deep zone, right? So that guy was looking in the backfield, and I watched the replay. He's looking in the backfield because he's thinking run, and nobody accounted for Omarion. So the run game being effective is what opened that up, I think.
You're right. They both stayed right there. There was that nickel, and then there was that corner, and there was no communication, and both of their eyes were right on the backfield because we kept running on him, and he just flew past him.
Like Lamar here said on the board, is it feels like the staff over the last 2 weeks watched film together. I think you're right, because that's what I've been saying is like, we can all see it. You guys are professionals, man. You got to see it too, and I think they did. But going back to that Omarion's touchdown, the funny part of that, if you watch the replay on the broadcast, is the other safety realizes it at the last second. And you can see he just goes back. It's really a holy shit moment. He's like, oh my God.
Nothing worse than in a safety where you give up that deep ball and you're like, oh, I'm about to get screamed at on the sidelines in about 3 seconds here.
Right. And I think, it was a great outcome, but we still got problems offensively. I mean, 24 is not going to win a lot of games in this conference, so we got to keep working on that and getting it better. But I think both teams had their share of mishaps and fall downs and whatever. I liked seeing the tight end get a couple catches yesterday, which keeps them honest. I loved the offensive line was just dominant in both phases of the game. The Welch TD that Welch TD where that we pulled Seton, the other 4 guys just obliterated the defense, just obliterated.
Actually, Jordan didn't even really have to do anything. He was just out there to celebrate.
It was actually 5 because Atkins had a really good seal block on the outside linebacker. So they just, and if you watch that play again, I mean, I'm not exaggerating. There's 2 guys on their defense that go head over heels on their backs, about 5 yards to the left. Which, when you get blocking like that, man, even a fat old guy like me could get a touchdown.
Yeah.
No, you're right. Seton didn't even really have to do much on that play. They just pulled him, and he looked good doing it, though. I'll tell you what. Yeah. Seton coming at me on a guard, I'm stepping out of the way. Listen, sir.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I'm getting out of the way.
Yeah. On that note, we did a lot of things that we hadn't done before in the run game this year. We down Hayden's big run in the fourth quarter was just a run of the mill, just a trap play, and Big Chrysler, all 250 pounds, 350 pounds of them got rolling and took that guy out, and there was a crease I could have got through, So we did trap plays, we did split zone with and we did a variation. So split zone is when everybody goes this way, and when some guy comes across the formation, splits out the backside guy, and we did that with 2 tight ends, but Yaya was one of them, and then Atkins came across. And so when you got Yaya Ati as a tight end and you're running a run game, you got an advantage.
Yeah.
So that was very creative, I thought. The stretch zone, the inside zone, all those things were very effective. And I know a lot of people are like, well, there's a lot of times they only got 2 yards. That's all right. That's part of the deal with the run game. They don't all you get those 2-yard gains to set up those 12 and 13, 25-yard gains, and to draw in those safeties so you could throw over the top. So I thought it was very effective. I think there's still some work to be done. But, for as many guys as we got missing, I can't wait to get Simeon Price back, because Dallin Hayden finally looks like the 4-star guy he's supposed to be.
It's so nice seeing him get back, and it started last week and it continued on this week. It's looking like that Ohio State guy who we were expecting to come in.
And my favorite play was not the long one at the end. My favorite play was a little zone over the right hand side where he just flat ran over the damn linebacker, and you could hear the crack of the helmets on the TV broadcast.
Yep.
I'm like, that dude just said, I'm getting through there, and that's the way I want to run it back to run, man.
Yeah, he realizes he's being a power runner now, and I think he realizes he's advantageous as far as size and speed now in the Big 12. I think he's running that way. Sorry about that, Adam. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm just curious because last year, Dallin Hayden really made nobody miss in open space. He didn't win one-on-one battles really ever, and we knew that he had a high ankle sprain, but you kind of put it on the staff of if he's out there and he's not performing, you got to be able to be critical if somebody's not performing well.
Right.
And it was very early in the offseason that you just kept hearing within the program that this is a really talented back. And we saw a couple glimpses of it in the spring game. And I think it's both that he's healthy, but I also think that last year, that overused cliche of having a chip on your shoulder. Like I think it's a boulder on his shoulder. The way he's running right now, even that the short yard situation where he's carrying bodies for an extra yard. I mean, he is maximizing everything he can right now. He's one of those guys. Tawfiq Bayard's another one where you just look to and you go, they're leaving it all out on the field every Saturday.
And let me ask you this: don't you think Marshall Falk has something to do with that?
I think Marshall Falk has done a great job coaching these running backs. Yeah.
I mean,
he took a lot of flack because they didn't land a recruit, an elite transfer recruit, and people thought just because you hire a Hall of Famer that maybe the nation's best guy is going to come there. Well, maybe back in the day. Now we're in the NIL era, and so. But what he's done with this group is pretty impressive. I still like Michael Welch, but he can't be your starting running back right now.
Well, and I still think Simeon Price is at least up until now was our best running back because Simeon Price has vision and he's got some athleticism. I don't know why he didn't do more before, but he shows things. We ran Cam Michael's first run. It showed that he wasn't a running back because the blocking was there and the hole was there, but he couldn't see it. He just didn't see it. And that's fine. He'll learn that. But he ran into the back of his guy. Later on Dallin Hayden's big run at the end of the game, it was an inside zone, so he's supposed to go behind the right tackle, okay? And he started to go there, but then he saw where the hole was, and he shifted his direction entirely, and he found that hole. He found that hole. And that's what was missing last year, man. He's got vision now. He can see the holes. So I'm excited.
Just that little burst that he showed is what is just they got to find a way to just find his niche within this offense because if you run a 100-yard dash with his football team, Cam Michael might win that race. He's definitely in the top 3 or 4.
Right.
It's going to be a work in progress, but you could just see that acceleration on that one play you talked about, and they got to find a role for him, I think, these last 5 games.
What I'd like to see, and I don't know if they're thinking about this or not, they're in that twin backs, and he's the right side back. I'd like to see just a little pitch. Just a little pitch. Let him use his speed to get outside, see what he got, and especially if you can audible into it, given the right defense, So I thought it was exciting, but I think there's a lot to build on. I think there's the passing game still got to get improved, but good showing against a good defense, I think.
Yeah. And you got to be so excited too. Our offensive line feels like, and they've been pretty cohesive all season, but they just feel like each week they're getting tighter and tighter. And you get Simeon Price back. You do the Draylon Miller experience again, who he can be a shifty back there. He can be he's kind of a pocket knife guy. You get Micah Welch and Dallin Hayden. I mean, we have a plethora of backs who can do all different things in different scenarios where you need them. When we get all those guys back, you never thought you'd say it, but our running game might be the most dangerous thing about this team moving forward.
Yeah. Well, there's a play I'm going to post up on the board later on, and it was that it's there was a Dallin Hayden run. I think it's the one where he trucked the dude. It's with 3:07 left, and it's to the right, and it's zone blocking, and it's just perfection. I mean, you could use it as a clinic. But what really stood out to me is McGill, our center, big dude, right? He climbed. He does his steps, and he climbs up, and he gets that middle linebacker and just seals the damn dude, man. Wow. And we haven't had centers with that athleticism in a while with that, and he's 320, man. And he just got out in front of that linebacker like the dude was standing still. And that's beautiful to see, because being able to climb to the next level is really the difference at this level. Lots of dudes are big and can maul guys on the line, but being able to run, watching Chrysler run at 350, watching Seaton run at 310, I'm like, God,
Yes.
I couldn't even run away from these dudes if they were trying to catch me.
With Zarian McGill, he's clearly battling through something too.
Yeah,
And this has been the third game where I've noticed him really dealing with like a lower, I don't know if it's an ankle or what's going on, but he's having to work through stuff. So the fact that he's been able to play as well as he has, where he's clearly not at 100%, has been pretty impressive.
There was one play where he was limping badly, and I saw somebody on the sidelines trying to wave him over, and he's like, I ain't coming out.
Yeah, he waved him off.
And that's the kind of toughness that you're looking for on the offensive line. I mean, that's the kind of dudes you need, And I still think Xavier Hill's our best guy out there on that offensive line. Even I think Seaton's our best pass protector for sure. But that offensive line is really coming together, man. And then the nice thing is, if McGill has to sit out, we're pretty solid behind him with Loveless, and I think Yaya's probably pretty close to being ready too.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
That trio, and Dante says put respect on Gunnar White's name, and for sure, man. I don't know how those three guys are dividing up what the duties are, but their technique is flawless. I mean, they are doing a job, man. The tackles have very different technique than the guards and the centers, and they just all look fantastic. They're doing a heck of a job with those guys.
Well, and once again, it felt like Caden had all day back there.
Yeah.
It's similar to last week. I mean, he has in it with a quarterback like that. When you have that much time to process, I mean, you're going to be successful. You're right. There was plays where you wish you could have back, but they're giving him so much time back there. And like we said, we were waiting for this around week 3 or week 4. We would have liked it to be a little bit earlier, but I mean, I really have no issues with Caden's performance yesterday. There was
you look at the one touchdown that was right on the left-hand side of the end zone. Was that Joseph Williams? I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You go back and watch that play, and the announcers pointed it out on the replay on the broadcast, and they replayed it. They said he does a field scan all the way from the right, and you watch his head. And he goes all the way from the right, all the way to the left, sees every guy, and then and that throw,
it's beautiful.
You watch it from behind.
Yeah.
And it's got to be just right. Or it's going to be out of bounds, or it's going to be intercepted or batted down. And that was not only the field vision of seeing every single guy, but then finding the guy in time and getting it the only spot where he could really make the play was fantastic.
I thought he played great yesterday.
Yeah, inaccurate in the first half, but it's a 60-minute football game, and you'd much rather have the Caden Salter of yesterday, where he's getting his groove in the second half, than early in the season when you just don't have confidence in clutch situations. And I think yesterday was such a big thing for his confidence. I even felt in the post-game press conference that he had a little bit stronger of a leadership demeanor to him, if that makes sense, of just. It felt like he was more assertive in that press conference, and that's something that they've been pushing him to be, and it's not natural for him. But I took a lot of flack last week because I was on the morning run, and I was asked if I had to stand up in front of the Colorado football team, what message would I give them? And I said, look, forget exactly how I led into this, but it's like, that's out of my pay grade. Like they don't need to be hearing from a journalist 7 games into the season, but the guy they need to hear from is Caden Salter. And some people thought I was calling him out, but well, I guess I was, but he stood up to the challenge, and it sounds like he's getting more comfortable in that role. He's not going to be the rah-rah guy. He's not going to be Ben Finiseth, just full of energy all the time. But especially when you've got an offensive line group that seems to have some leaders in it that can kind of, provide some of that. I think we've seen improvement out of that. Even the week prior, and the performance was bad, obviously out of TCU, but it sounded like Caden is starting to get the message that this has to be his football team.
Well, but I also think, so I was, 10 years in the Marine Corps and Navy and in football for most of my life. And you can't do that until you do something on the field. Otherwise, you're just pretender, And I think he understands that instinctively that it had to be he had to have a successful performance where he could really stand up and do that. Then people follow you because they know you can get the job done. Players follow players, man. And I think he had a maybe hopefully a breakthrough yesterday. And so hopefully that leads to bigger things and we get some guys back and we still need to open this thing up because we got to start getting in the 30s, I think. But I don't know what else we got to talk about on offense, but I want to talk about that defense.
Well, I just wanted to touch real quick on Adam's point. I watched the presser too. He feels like he's coming more into his own, even vocally, and even on the field yesterday. He was animated. There was moments where I think he ran for a first down. And he got up and did that kind of scream and I'm him type of thing that I've been looking for all year for him. You're right, William. You got to make those plays or else you're just doing it just to do it. And no one's going to believe that because the locker room can sense and smell what's fake and what's real. But
you're just a dude making noise.
Yeah, exactly. But you wanted to hear that. And like I said, that quote afterwards, it said, I'm getting really good at forgetting things. I don't think that was a shot at anybody but somebody, maybe the non-believers in the locker room or the media or anything like that was basically saying, hey, I've heard the criticism. I've heard all those things. I've chosen to push that to the side and continue to go and look at this win yesterday. He feels so much more confident with himself when he speaks, when he leads. That's what you wanted to see because he's got all the tangible skill sets that we need. It's those leadership ones that you were looking for, and I think he's displaying those more and more each week.
And the big thing really was the decision making. He was split second and right most of the time. Because I think he even said they talked about an interview with him pregame, where he said, he gets too much in his head and he thinks too much, and he's got to make those choices and make those decisions. And more often than not, the guys that are him, you got to trust your gut. You got to just do it. Just do it, man. And they were talking about in the 2-minute drill where you don't have time to think about it, and it just boils down to the fundamentals of playing football. That's where guys really shine, So I'm excited. I hope we can build off this and make something even better out of it.
Will, we are cutting into your NFL window here.
Yes.
I'm curious, what's on tap for Buffs in the NFL this week?
So we got Travis Hunter versus the Seahawks. I am that's the one that I'm looking for mostly because he kind of had for a lot of people his breakout game last week. I've been watching every game. He's been doing incredible things on both sides of the ball, but as far as the frequency goes, people want to see more from him. They traded up to get him as at the second round. You'd figure that they would just be throwing him out there like they did at Colorado and letting him do his thing. He still is not getting a ton of targets, but if you guys saw what he was able to do in that Monday night game last week, there's not a player, I believe, a receiver on earth who could make the catch in the acrobatic form that he made over the middle last week than the Travis Hunter. And on defense, he's doing great too. So I think now their coach, Leon Cohen, he basically said, we're trying to figure out Travis as we go along, but I think tonight did us a solid on how we're going to use him. I think you're going to see a lot more productivity on offense specifically today from Travis, and that's the game I'm looking forward to.
All right, before I get you out of here, Will, we're going to start a new tradition on here. You know how college football final does the helmet stickers?
Yes.
So after a Colorado win on the podcast, you got to tell me who you're giving your game ball to. Okay.
You know what? I'm going to give my game ball because I have a feeling I already know who William's going to give his sticker to. So I'm going to give my sticker to Caden Salter. I think that his leadership and his vocal climb has been something to see from a kid who felt discouraged and almost like he's lost his confidence throughout the year to a full 180 and a competent quarterback who went into the presser and went onto the team. There was videos, I don't know if you saw afterwards, where they were listening to NBA Youngboy or something in the locker room, and he was on top of the canvas jumping around. he looks like a different guy, and he looks like he's coming to his own. You need a quarterback to win ball games in college football. I feel like we got ours. I'm going to give my sticker to Caden Salter.
I love it. All right, we'll let you go. Go ahead, William.
Who do you think I'm going to pick?
Well, it was who I was going to pick. I know it's going to be either one of the big boys up front or Tawfiq Bayard. I thought he had a hell of a game, so that was going to be my honorable mention.
Yeah, I am torn between it's either Jeremiah Brown or Tawfiq Bayard for me because the defense won that game.
Yeah.
And so to me, it has to be somebody on that side. And with that interception is probably the play of the game. But Jeremiah Brown was just lights out, man. Just lights out. And a third guy I'd mention is Amari McNeil is playing the way I expected him to play. These last 2 weeks, he's played at an All-America level. And that fourth down stop, that's the most beautiful defensive line play I've seen in a long damn time.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll pick Jeremiah Brown. I don't know.
And they both led Colorado in tackles just for, I think Jeremiah Brown was 1 and Tawfiq was 2. And you're right. They have him as 7. I don't know. He might have been in double digits.
And I'm going to pick Jeremiah because everybody's loving on Tawfiq. And so somebody got to give some love to Jeremiah.
There you go.
All right, Will, thanks as always for joining us. And I know the folks out there are looking forward to your Buffs in the NFL feature this week.
Coming on Tuesday. See you, fellas. Have a good weekend, okay?
See ya. William, speaking of Tawfiq Bayard, I was trying to figure out when he broke his hand.
Yeah.
And I couldn't.
Yeah.
It was he got inserted back in at the beginning of the fourth quarter with that. I think it was a soft cast or a cast. And it was the London Merritt tackle for a loss was the first play he was out there. Then the Sean Myers tackle for a loss was the second play. And then the third play was the pick. I wonder how he injured that. But he said he broke his hand at USF last year and kind of just said it like it was no big thing. He's a football player.
Well, that's what they thought. They said Coach Prime, I think, said it was on the same drive as the interception, but clearly that couldn't have been true, right? Because he had to get that cast on. That's the things legends are born of. Like that reminds me of Ronnie Lott in the Super Bowl. They're like, well, we can't fix this finger. He said, cut it off. So they did. It's like that's the kind of guy you want in the trenches with, and I think Tawfiq was just lights out in this game. I think him and Jeremiah Brown and Amari McNeil just gave us superstar play at all three levels, and that's, I think, really, people are going to be upset about the rushing yards, but at the end of the day, it's points that matter, so I think there's things they got to tighten up, but we get some guys back from injury. I love that Sean Myers really stood up and had a good game as well, so that helps the linebacker.
Well, I'm going to give my game ball on the other side of this, but I want to give a shout out to our sponsors here real quick. Is your business growing but not quite ready for a full-time CFO? Macaulay Capital offers fractional CFO services for companies doing more than $3 million in annual revenue. You get expert financial leadership without the full cost. Learn more about how you can improve your business's profitability and cash management at MacaulayCapital.com. If you know Boulder, you know the Hungry Toad. We've been serving this town since 1991, long before the lines on Pearl Street. Just north of campus, we're your local British pub with proper fish and chips, quality burgers, a scratch kitchen, real English cask ale, and no tourist fluff. We support CU football, women's soccer, and the loyal fans who keep it local. The Hungry Toad, Boulder-born, Buffs proud. Colorado proud. Well, how does that end? It cut off early there. So
that's where I said, remember when Coach Prime said, we don't take weapons, we hand them out? And I said, Hanson Rada don't take no weapons.
Yeah, that's right. Our guy Hanson, he's over there in Spain. I got to text him back. He texted me this week.
We're going there on Tuesday, aren't we?
Yes. I'm living minute by minute right now, but I'm so looking forward to this bye week, and I know I planned some stuff. If that's the case, I'm really looking forward to it because Hanson said he was going to hook us up.
Right.
Great burgers. I don't know, maybe some wings. French onion soup's amazing. Fish and chips. I mean, there's so many good options there at the Hungry Toad, and appreciate Macaulay Capital as well. One of our early sponsors with you, William, and I doing the show together. My game ball is going to Dion Coach Prime Sanders. 4-hour surgery Tuesday. Right after conducting a press conference, he's back at practice on Wednesday. And I know sometimes the adrenaline of the season might kind of push you through something like this, but I mean, going under anesthesia is no joke. And I know he's done it 16 times now here since his days at beginning at Jackson State when those blood clot issues started. But I mean, that's still a long week for him, and would have been easy for him to, take a week off or not be back at practice right away. And I think guys see that and it kind of inspired them. And I think that was a big thing. And I also want to say, William, Colorado was unquestionably the better coach football team yesterday.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was even close. Like I think Colorado vastly outcoached Iowa State, which, Iowa State is known as this disciplined team that, will muck it up at times, but be disciplined enough to kind of win games in an ugly fashion at times. I was just thinking when they win for it, Iowa State on 4th and 1.5 yards with 7:40 left in the game, and they don't make that first down. Do you know if Coach Prime makes that decision and they fail to convert? Do you know ESPN's first take is leading off Monday's show with that?
Oh my God. It'll be national and everybody will want him fired. Oh my God. Yeah, no kidding. But you got to have some seasons to be able to get away with a thing like that, I guess. But I didn't have any doubt that they were going to stop that play. I just had the strangest feeling that we were pretty much dominant on both lines of scrimmage, and so I didn't have any thinking that they were going to make that play at all. I didn't think it was a very good play call, but that's what it is.
Your 17.5 yard line was 7:40 left.
Yeah.
What?
Right. You got to wonder what the hell. That's almost like you're throwing the game. I don't know.
And then they ran, Iowa State did a quarterback draw on 3rd and 10 with 4:25 left. And I'm like, Colorado, our message boards would have gone completely insane if that happened.
There'd be cars burning in Boulder, I think it's probably so.
Yeah.
But and the other thing is people will complain about the defense giving up a lot of run yards, but the stat that jumps out at me is Iowa State was 2 for 12 on 3rd down and 0 for 1 on 4th down.
Yep.
When it mattered, man, the defense was there, and we put them in a lot of 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12 situations, and we showed up and really shut them down when it counted. So I think that it's a bend but don't break sort of defense, and you hold a team in this conference to 17 points, you've done something.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm going back through my notes. Bounce back effort for Damon Greaves, a much better performance than he had at TCU.
Yeah,
we got to spend some time on Joseph Williams. That first catch, because the offense just was not able to get anything going. Yeah. And he scoops it. I mean, that was on a degree of difficulty, a 9 or a 10 from a catch standpoint. And
if you look at it on the replay of the TV when they showed all the angles, it never touched the ground. Never touched the ground.
Nope.
It was beautiful, really. And that was such an important play in the whole game. And then, his play, all 8 catches were important. It felt like, at critical moments of the game.
Yeah. Yeah, I was critical too of the flag that was thrown on him for John back at an Iowa State guy, I guess. But did you watch that closely? After it was 12:30 left in the 4th quarter, Joseph Williams catches a pass along the sideline. He goes down, and the Iowa State defender is kind of standing over him, not really giving him much space to get up. And all he did is kind of turn back and say one word or a couple words. I'm like, what 2 words could have caused that penalty? Because the guy was not letting them get back to the huddle for a second there.
The only thing I would say is that they called the same thing on Iowa State later on in our end zone.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. For a very
with Ben Finiseth. Yeah.
Right,
that one. Yeah.
In a very similar situation, because Ben Finiseth, he didn't really do much in the guy, but I think at least in that case the guy got face mask to face mask with Finiseth. But I think they just weren't going to let any of that kind of stuff escalate. I don't know.
I didn't think the Omarion Miller was a hold initially, but yeah, watching that again, he did enough with the left hand.
You can see
Yeah, that just wasn't smart, and it really didn't help the play any, right? I mean, Dallin Hayden was still going to get those yards regardless. I know it's sometimes tough because you're blocking in front and you don't have eyes in the back of your head, but Omarion Miller needs to improve his blocking.
Yeah,
That's one area of his game that I've been kind of disappointed with him this season.
but I think that's at least an effort mistake. You're trying hard. It's not you made a mistake.
There's some other times though he's not putting the effort blocking wise, in my opinion.
For sure. And then I think if staying in the wide receiver room, Quentin Gibson on kickoffs, man, that guy. Every time you think you just don't know, man. It just looks like he's going to make it. I think he's exciting to watch. And I don't think I've ever seen a 6'8" kicker or a 6'8" lineman be a kickoff kicker.
Yeah, that was after that penalty on their touchdown where he had to kick off so far back that that was
pretty good. Did pretty good.
He did. I'll tell you, Iowa State's little running back Abu Sama the third. Yeah, he's a tough little back. He was fun to watch yesterday.
Yeah. He's got good vision. He's slippery. He finds holes and gets through there, and he can also deliver some punishment and doesn't go down with the first hit. So he was good to see. He was the best part of their game, for sure. But I don't know. Overall, we played pretty good defense. I thought London Merritt was fantastic. Had some really big plays. He only had 2 tackles, but they were both tackles for losses. McPherson looked good again. So there's a lot of guys that are going to really do some things for us in the future on that defense. So, and I have to think, it's sort of following last year where that defense keeps getting better game by game, week by week. So I think that seems to be sort of Livingston's thing is they may not be ready for the start of the season, but they get better as the weeks go by.
Yeah. Nicole C with nice super chat here. Appreciate you for tuning in, and yeah, it's been much needed.
Well, Nicole, I just want to say to Nicole, she said early on, she said something funny about laughing at Oregon boys' distress.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure some people get tired of our shtick about Dan Lanning, but it's mostly genuine if we're going to be real.
Right,
I mean,
right. He's unlikable. I don't know. So I don't like the guy. I don't tell you.
Yeah. What else do you have on your notes from yesterday's game?
I thought it was. I think you were right on something about there was that extra level of effort. We were physical. We were physical. Both sides of the ball, and I think you're onto something when you talk about Coach Prime being back at practice, and then it's not an accident, it's not a coincidence that McGill plays through injury and Byard goes back out with a cast with a broken hand. These guys saw their coach go under anesthesia and be back the same damn day. They know now what being tough is, So I think that was a big thing. I think a lot of guys came through with a lot of plays. I think, guys that we didn't expect to play much. Alvin Yates, pretty good game. I don't know what you think about that play with that big tight end. I thought that was a good flag pickup, but he played a pretty decent game for a guy that's not supposed to play much.
Yeah, I think that should have been a flag. To be honest with you, it's close. But
I don't know what the rule is as far as like that. That 6'7" guy, he's basically blocking him, and he's out of pass play. I don't think you're allowed to do that, right?
I took it as like when I watched it a couple times that he was trying to get to the spot he knew the ball was going to get thrown to, and Ivan Yates was there and just tackled him. I don't know. I do think though that aside from that play, and I know, some of the cornerback play got a little bit dissected on our message board, but I thought Ivan Yates actually played better than I expected. He had a really beautiful pass breakup in the first half, and was you could see the effort from him. Makari Vickers is going to be okay. He's too raw at this point, man, to put out there. I'm sorry. He just needs a little bit more seasoning. And I don't know. We got to get an update on RJ Johnson because I think he's their second best cornerback at this point. And I would say I thought DJ McKinney played a pretty good game. There was one
Yeah,
pass
one
was just perfectly thrown, and he was right there.
right.
So I thought he had a better game.
Yeah, he looked better, and even a cornerback on his best game is not going to make every play. And so one of the things I think that Caden Salter was talking about, is learning how to forget things. Is that's a big thing in football. Whether it's quarterback or cornerback, you got to forget the last play and move on. You got to forget the trash people are talking to you and move on and do your job. I thought that yesterday was our best game by our linebackers by a good bit. I thought that Jeremiah Brown was fantastic. Sean Myers had some really good plays. Reginald Hughes was all over the field, and so that was a good thing to see. I don't know if it is French on the injured list.
No, he played a little bit yesterday, but he is he's made enough mistakes where he's not getting as many reps as he did early on.
Yeah. So we still got to fill that position for next year. We're playing on a thin group right now, but Wiggins played a lot. And we get some of these guys back on the defensive line. I think that'll help us. What you got a feeling on what's going on with all these injuries this year? Just bad luck.
I'm going to run through that list. First, I want to ask you, William, have you ever tried anything off Taco Bell's Cantina menu?
Not yet, but I should. I need to.
Okay, you have to, because they launched a new era of chicken, and it's not your parents' poultry. The Cantina chicken menu debuts a new flavorful chicken that is slow roasted and perfectly seasoned with Mexican spices, including garlic, onions, and a variety of chilies. Additional premium ingredients highlighted on the menu include shredded purple cabbage, white corn tortilla shells freshly fried, and pico de gallo freshly prepared. Try this amazing shredded chicken in a crispy white corn tortilla with cheese inside and out, wrapped in a burrito with a fresh purple cabbage and pico, or inside a Cantina chicken quesadilla for an unforgettable meal. However you like it, you'll never have chicken the same way again. Get yours today at your nearest Taco Bell location, and don't forget to add on your $7 Buffs box featuring 4 Buff Classics, Taco Bell Classics, and large drink and CU Buff Player Collectible Cup. Taco Bell is a proud sponsor of CU Athletics and will be donating $1,000 to the Golden Scholarship Fund every touchdown that's scored. Liv Moss. I actually got a Cantina chicken burrito a couple weeks ago, and then our teenage boys brought back Taco Bell this week. They're not as big into the avocado verde salsa as me and my wife are. Have you got to try that? Get that. Do you like their crunchy tacos, William, or do you like more of the soft stuff from Taco Bell?
No, I like the Doritos Locos.
Doritos Locos. Okay.
But then I like that.
But you're gonna like the chicken Cantina because it's got cheese inside out. Like I said, throw some avocado verde salsa in there and call it a day.
Not your parents' poultry. I like that.
Not your parents' poultry. No, it's Y2K, baby. Let's go. Yes, Debbie C. Look at her helping us out. She says it is delicious with the salsa. Yeah, it really is.
Avocado and lemon. So what other thoughts do you have from yesterday? What do you think we need to do? Is there any takeaway on offense that we need to get better at to score more points?
I think it's about Caden Salter just maintaining leadership in that group, and maybe some personnel changes here and there. If you do get a DeKalen Taylor back this season, you got some other options to get creative with things. I feel like Pat Shurmur has improved this season.
Yeah, I think he's doing better. I liked yesterday that they stuck with the run game, even when it wasn't effective sometimes. And part of the run game,
yes, exactly.
Stay with it. You can't give up on it. Like that first drive, first 2 plays didn't really work out, but we kept coming back to it. You have to stick with your run game throughout the game in order to make the defense be honest about it, and then you get big plays downfield, like some of those pass plays. So I thought, that's the benefit of the run game. Even if the run game doesn't gain a lot of yards, is that it walks up those safeties a little bit and you get things behind them. But close to 150 yards for the second game in a row. That's pretty good. We'll take that. But I saw less of the sideline to sideline. We had one middle screen that was beautiful. That's the kind of screen I want to see, where they actually had the offensive lineman out there blocking for it, and the player comes from the outside back in. That was a nice play. So I thought that was a lot better, and there was a much better bunch of variety of play calling. I still think 24 is probably not enough to win a lot of games in this conference, but it's better.
Yeah, no doubt. In terms of the injuries, Hakeem Williams is out. R.J. Johnson at cornerback, Draylon Miller, Isaiah Harge. Miller and Harge are probably going to be back after the bye week, I believe, based on what we've heard. Carter Stoutmeyer likely as well. I don't know what's going on with R.J. Johnson. We're not going to get a chance to talk to Coach Prime this week, but we're going to talk to the coordinators on Tuesday. You'd say, we'll ask the coordinators about that. They're savvy enough to go, that's a Coach Prime question if you ask about an injury. So we're probably going to have to wait till Coach Prime's Tuesday press conference. If no one else in the media asks, I'll try to get more clarification on just kind of if any of these guys are coming back. One guy I don't think is coming back this season is Samuel Okunlola off the edge, based off what I've heard. You've got a lot of guys on this list. Arden Walker, I think, will be back after the bye week. Don't know what's going on with Savell Smalls.
Losing Okunlola sucks, and it's a bad beat for our defense. But what it has done is given McPherson and Merritt some playing time that they might not have got otherwise, and they have both really stepped up and shown why they were highly recruited.
Yeah, and you've got both those guys coming back, obviously, and then you actually like that edge group, I think, quite a bit going forward, because you got Quincy Wiggins with another year of eligibility
and he's
after this year.
A lot yesterday.
What's that?
Quincy Wiggins played a lot yesterday too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they've kind of moved him around a little bit. He's had to go interior a little bit, and
he's actually been quite effective inside. Both in the run and the pass game. He's a little more athletic than those guys. Those guards are used to seeing, but he's also got enough power to stand those guys up.
Philip Houston has been on the list all. He was starting to get back. That's another guy I wish we could get an update from the head coach on. Tyler Brown, I don't know what's going on there. It was, kind of sad to see him not live up to his expectations here so far. And then the other guys on the list were Terrell Timmons Jr. I think he'll be probably back after the bye week. Tavion Coleman is out, I think, for the rest of the year, right? And then Tawfiq Thomas. Tawfiq Thomas was starting to play pretty well before he got hurt.
Yeah, he was really coming on. Both him and Coleman, I think, were playing pretty well. So I'd like to get some of those guys back. And we had so much depth there on the defensive line, and then we got so many injuries, it's kind of nuts.
Well, I think you'll get at least a third of this list back. But you're still going to practice, so it's not to say that there couldn't be more injuries on the horizon before they go out to Utah. But this bye week comes at a really good time, William, for the football team, for myself as well. It's a fun grind, and it just feels so good to go into it with a win, man.
Well, I think you go into that with a win, and it's a big deal, But I think Coach Prime hasn't been all that great coming out of buys, I don't think, the last 3 years. But one thing I wanted to mention that's been a positive to me is we've really settled on the same 5 guys on the offensive line. In fact, we're really kind of playing 6 offensive linemen, because Yaya is out there in that 84 jersey a lot of the time. So he's getting a lot of playing time and blocking time too. So I'm really glad we finally settled in on our 5. And I think that helps an offensive line when they all work together and know what each other's doing.
Yeah. He's been out there quite a bit. Like you said, he's had 68 offensive snaps this season as kind of a situational guy. And most of that's been as a jumbo tight end.
Right.
So, yeah. Any other notes? We've almost hit an hour. We could probably call it, and maybe because we got to save some stuff for next Sunday, because it's going to be a bye week. So we gotta.
Yeah, have to do something else next week. But I don't know. I look at the Big 12 is always a crazy conference, and you look at what's left. I think Utah, Arizona, West Virginia, Arizona State, Kansas State. I think we have a very good shot, and I think that at getting bowl eligible, and I think that that's really the key at this point. Get to the bowl game and keep the thing rolling and what have you. But I think also coming off of that win yesterday, I think we've proven what we've been saying all along is we could beat any team in this conference when we're playing well. So I think there's a lot to play for here and a lot to be excited about.
Yeah. We got a question about Sean Niehoff. He's got something going on with his kids today. We're going to do something with him during the bye week for sure. What else do we have here on the chat? Yeah, it's one of those things where I might have just been in a car down in Mexico had the Buffaloes lost yesterday. Yeah. I'm joking. I got a family. I can't do that. But yeah, I was telling Brian how it was like, I can do the 8:30 kickoffs where I don't go to bed till 7 a.m. in the morning. And I can somehow compartmentalize enough to get through a Colorado loss. But when you get both of those in back-to-back weeks, it's like my immune system kind of shut down on me. I've been dealing with colds, and it just
it's all your immune system is based on your sleep cycles and things like that in a large measure. So that's a same thing for sure. I think Debbie C said London Merritt was amazing, and I think he really showed some great things. 2 tackles for losses yesterday. I had a thought and I lost it. Somebody was asking if we thought the injuries were because of the new field turf, and I think we don't have enough information because we don't know what the injuries are or when they happened. Did they happen in practice? Did they happen in games? Without all that kind of information, you can't say whether it's one thing or the other. But I wouldn't jump to the conclusion that it's about the new field turf in the stadium. And when they play on turf inside in the practice facility, and always have.
Yeah, it was slippery out there yesterday for sure, and that's why Ralphie 7 didn't make a run at halftime. You saw that I think a few times, or one that I remember in particular is when Zach Adkins was trying to kind of cut back upfield and his legs just kind of gave up from underneath him.
Right.
The turf is it's definitely not perfect. We've heard some guys complain about it. Amari Miller said the wood chips kind of cut up your legs a little bit. It's a revenue source for them. I would agree with people that are like angry about them for changing it if the grass field wasn't pretty awful by the end of the season. The natural grass field in past seasons wasn't pretty awful late in the season as well.
Yeah.
Because Colorado's high desert basically, right? I mean, Boulder is.
Right.
So you just – it's not natural to have grass really out there in November. And that's been an issue too. So it's too small of a sample size. And then, when these injuries pile up, everyone wants to go after the strength coach. And it's like, again, like you need more than just a few weeks here and there because it's a physical game. And if you're challenging these guys in practice, then you're going to have injuries.
And sometimes things like that just run in cycles, I mean, sometimes you just get bad luck in a season and that's the way it goes. And there's not any particular reason, but, I'm sure, I hope that they'll take a look at when they all happened, what the injuries were, how serious they were. And you can kind of derive something from that if you have enough information. And I don't know if the medical staff looked at that kind of thing, but at some point you got to play physical and hit each other in practice. And I think they needed to do more of that recently, and maybe they have. I don't know. There was one video of Coach Prime out there screaming at the linebacker coach about them not thudding in practice. And so, this is a game where it gets physical. And I like that we got physical yesterday, and I think we knocked them around pretty damn good.
Wow, big changes out in Penn State. Kevin Dorsey, as you were talking there, I looked at this. ESPN's reporting that James Franklin's out at Penn State. Wow.
Yeah, wow.
And the Oregon State coach apparently as well. I haven't vetted that one, but yeah, man, you gotta find a way at some point to win a big game if you're the Penn State head coach, and they've had a lot of talent.
Yeah.
Is that not true? Somebody's saying no way.
What?
I gotta look that up. On3's reporting that.
Yeah, I think I don't know that that's one of those places that has sort of unrealistic expectations every year. Maybe not unrealistic. I don't know.
Well, they've got a lot of resources out there.
Yeah, a lot of history.
Mhm.
That's kind of what they expect. So I don't know.
The thing is, every game there are two teams, and one of them is going to be a loser, and there is a fan base that's going to lose their
Yeah,
HIT if
yeah,
they
yeah.
lose, and you got another fan base that's going to be on cloud nine for a week. It's a very bipolar existence we live
Well,
as
I mean,
college football fans and writers.
look at it. We won 9 games last year, and look how people reacted to the darn bowl game. It's like like you would have thought we were a 1-win team again.
Yeah.
Like, holy cow. So at some point you got to take some pleasure in it, or why follow it? I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we get to enjoy this one, William. Appreciate you. Any last notes before we get out of here?
No, I think great time for the bye week. I'll go into it with a win, get some guys healthy back again, and we'll go into Utah and see what we got. I think Utah, I don't know how much if they're back to the Utah of old. They had a rough season last year, but they're always going to be well coached, and we'll see what happens out there.
Always a tough matchup. Yep.
One thing, it was interesting to see Chase Souls be so much of a part of the Iowa State offense. Almost forgot.
Yeah. Apparently, Sean Neop was saying this in the press box, because I went up to the post game presser and Sean stays back and writes, and they pipe in the post game press conference for him there. He said that there was an interaction with a fan between Chase Sowell, like when they rushed the field at the end of the game, where it got really physical.
Oh, wow.
And it took Ben Finiseth and some other staff members to pull Chase Sowell off. And it was kind of, not that I like Chase Sowell a lot. So I hope it didn't escalate too bad, but I was waiting for something to pop up on social media, but it hasn't. So hopefully everything's good there. We can kind of move on, because he came in with no scholarship offers, was a baseball player growing up, and got hurt at CU, didn't get a chance to really make much of an audition for this Coach Prime staff. And it's great that he's having success. Jordan Tyson down at Arizona State, same thing.
Well, you see a lot of people. You could see a lot of people taking shots at Coach Prime and the staff, over Jordan Tyson and Chase Sowell. But at the time, nobody could see that they were going to be what they are now. And you look at the receivers that Coach Prime was bringing in, and it's kind of a no-brainer given the situation at the time.
Well, Tyson, you could have said that he was going to be really good, but his leg was just demolished in that injury against Oregon, and that's what it came.
What I meant. There was a huge question mark. It wasn't entirely clear he would ever play again.
Yeah, I mean, receiver's been just fine at Colorado, so it's one of those things that you can replace guys. That's why everybody goes back to Colton Hood all the time, because they haven't replaced that guy. And so if you can replace a guy, then wish him luck. I mean, Jordan Tyson, it's great that he's having success. He's a great story, man.
Yeah, and I think, you look at this season, how it's playing out for us so far, and I think we, hopefully Coach Prime and the staff learned some lessons about filling spots, and Phil can have to do a little bit better job at some positions next year than we did this year. But it's a new world, and everybody's still trying to figure it out.
Yeah. All right, William, good show. Appreciate you. And we can come back next week, and we can just kind of have a bunch of fun topics, because we don't have a specific game to recap following the bye week. So that'll be fun.
Maybe we should ask people for questions on the board here.
A mailbag would be a good idea. Sounds good. All right. Appreciate you, William, and appreciate everybody out there for tuning in. In case you haven't heard, CU Athletics is teaming up with Taco Bell this season, launching the first ever $7 Buffs box, which is available at participating Colorado Taco Bell locations. What's in the Buffs box? A lot of great stuff. You get 4 Taco Bell classics, a cheesy gordita crunch, a beefy 5-layer burrito, a Doritos Locos Tacos, cinnamon twists, and the meal comes with a signature Buffs collectible cup featuring either Julian Juju Lewis, Jordan Seaton, Draylon Miller, or Quentin Gibson. And this isn't just about the food. Every single CU touchdown this year means more than points. Taco Bell will donate $1,000 for every Buffs touchdown to the Golden Buffalo Scholarship Fund. Nothing better than crushing a Buffs box while watching the Buffs light up the scoreboard. Live Moss.